welcome everyone to the February 22nd, 2024 meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission. This meeting of the commission will be held in person at the town hall. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person attendance versus virtual attendance accordingly. And the web link to join online is given on the agenda. Okay, let's do the roll call. Please signify by saying present or here. Commissioner Ed Laturco.
Here.
Commissioner Rob Sheehan.
Here.
Commissioner Indra Deb.
Here.
Commissioner Bill Boyven.
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Walensky.
You have to unmute yourself, Sarah.
Does she hear you?
She's, I see a face.
Can you hear us, Sarah? Oh, I got to unmute me to talk, don't I?
Sarah, can you hear us?
I don't think she can.
Sarah, can you hear us?
Okay, say here.
We're taking attendance.
You have to unmute.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right,
But
success.
she could only hear.
Yes, we can.
Only when I unmuted myself.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, can you hear us right now? No,
So how did she hear us before?
I unmuted myself. It's asked her if she could hear.
Do you want to check the thing over there? The microphone's on now.
So you're the only one that can communicate with Sarah?
Anyone else who unmutes can. Anybody that's logged in can, I guess. Yes. But it also gave an echo.
John's just going to check the. Okay.
Okay, Sarah, can you hear us now?
Okay.
Good.
Okay, good.
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Now we got you.
Okay.
I hear.
All right. All right, and we're on roll call. So I would like to call Kent Moffett. Are you here?
I'm here. Sorry.
1, 2, 3,
I'll wait.
5, 6. Everyone's here.
You guys.
All right. Okay, after calling the meeting to order, the next item is public comment period. Is there anyone online or in the room that would like to talk about something that's not already on the agenda? All right, the record should show that no one was offering public comment. Next, we have the approval of minutes for January 11, 2024. Any discussion needed?
And a couple of minor comments that were corrected.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the meeting of January 11, 2024?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All right, so Ed, how do you vote?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Indra?
Abstain.
Abstain. Bill?
Yes.
And Sarah?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so that is,
Kent.
oh, Kent?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so that is 601.
Second for showing up late.
Okay, all right, so next is, okay. All right, next we have the minutes of January 25th, 2024. Any reason for discussion of those?
Nope.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, how do you vote? Kent?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Indra?
Abstain.
Rob?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ed?
Yes.
The chair votes yes, so a vote of 601. The minutes of January 25th are approved. Next, we have request for certificate of compliance, 225 Middlesex Turnpike. This is DEP file number 122-598. It's our request for a certificate for, I believe it's 6 years old, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so do you have,
But Tom Nuno is here in case he might want to speak.
oh, is he? Tom?
I am.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm good.
All right, would you like to introduce yourself, and then the floor is yours.
I'm Tom Nino. I work for Tetra Tech. I was the LSP for this project 6 years ago, and our company no longer has this project, so I was asked to close this out, and that's what I'm doing. I can. Oh, are we sharing, or is this Eileen that's sharing?
It's me, but did you want to share something, Tom?
No, it's pretty much the same. I was gonna. Oh, these are the photos from before. These
are from today.
Oh, these are from today. Oh, excellent. Okay. So, anyway, Eileen and I met on site on the 16th of January. This well was installed, as you know, 6 years ago. I apologize for how long it's taken for us to close this out. There was a small track-mounted drill rig used to install this well. We cut no trees down to do it. The area looks relatively undamaged, although I am curious about this path there shown on the left-hand photo. But I have pictures showing the exact area before and after, but you can see where the well is. There's not a lot of impact to the area, and we'd like to close this out. I think there's a property transfer that's pending, and they want to get this closed out. Is there any questions from the commission?
All right, we'll get to that in a second. If there is any. Eileen, any comment, any reason why we should not issue the certificate?
No, as Tom said, we went out when it was under snow and we had no trouble finding it. So I went out today just to show you guys, just to make sure it was clear and it was fine without the snow. Tom, you know what that is? Remember when you and I went out there, you said, oh, it feels funny underfoot. That area there has got a lot of grass clippings dumped in it. So that's probably what you're seeing. It looks a bit, nice, right?
Wasn't us, I swear.
No, it wasn't them. It was from the around Kent Cottage. So you can see in the distance there, I kind of did shots coming closer. You can see the wetland flags are still up. So the monitoring well was in the wetland, but I mean, it looks like, it looks like every other part of the wetland around it. So I don't have any issues with this, with issuing a COC.
Okay. All right, does anybody on the left have any questions about issuing the certificate?
No.
How about on the right, Ed, Rob? No? If I'm looking at the correct order, it seems to say that they're supposed to be submitted a written narrative and some photographs. I guess we got photographs.
He did.
Was a narrative.
There was, which I think I hope I sent that to you guys. He did. He sent a letter with a narrative. There was a bond, but we think that it wasn't paid, so it's kind of moot. So we don't have to give it back. There was a narrative, and
I don't think it was a bond.
I think it was. It was just the permit fee, so there's no issue with that.
Oh, there was no bond.
No, there wasn't. He means that they didn't pay it. That's all he means. There was a $1,000 bond.
Could you explain?
He just means they didn't pay it.
Is that what you mean? You mean you didn't pay it, right?
Yeah.
I think we did.
$1,000 bond, but it doesn't.
No, we couldn't find any evidence. Remember, you've been in contact with our office.
Yeah.
I think we resolved that. What I thought was possibly a bond was actually part of the permit fee. So,
right.
So the bottom line from all this discussion is there was no bond.
Correct.
There was a fee.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, we don't return fees.
Correct.
Okay.
No.
So
Okay.
there's nothing to return, but I think we should issue the COC, is my...
We should what?
Issue the COC is
All
my
right.
recommendation.
All right, if there's, anyone have any further comment on this?
No.
Hearing nothing further, could I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 225 Middlesex Turnpike, DEP file number 122-598?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, Kent, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes by a vote of 700. Their certificate of compliance for 225 Middlesex Turnpike has been issued.
Thank you, folks.
All right, good to see you. Take care. Or good to hear you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm good.
Could have put my video on.
Well, we'll have to wait. We'll wait until next time, Tom, to see you.
There you go.
Okay, take care.
See ya. Bye-bye. All right. Okay, next is item 5A on the agenda. Notice is given that the commission will hold a public meeting during which time will act upon a request for determination of applicability filed by Gabriel Sempeli for the proposed extension of an existing deck within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands. It's located at 62 Mountain Road. And after we hear that, we'll issue a determination. The application's being heard under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington's bylaw, Article 14. And a copy of this application is available by emailing conservation@burlington.org. Someone here for that one? Come on up. And the seat over there is yours? Right there,
Please. Usually.
okay? And you just, first, the way we do this is you just talk into the microphone, introduce yourself, where you live, and then if you want to summarize anything you're doing, you can do that before we get started on it.
Yes, my name is Gabriel Sempeli. I live under 62 Mountain Road here in Burlington. I've been living in this house since it was built in 2008. It was built, and as it was built, we have a small deck in the back. Our property is very small piece of land between the ledge and the wetland. It was detached from the 60th Mountain Road subdivided property when it was developed by the developer, and we enjoy the quiet, peaceful surroundings and by the wetlands, and we spend a lot of time out there in the summer and wanted to put in a couch there just to enjoy the shade and to make this place more livable and enjoy the outdoors. And that's why we're planning to add a little 8x8 extension to our existing porch, and that's what the request is for.
Okay, thank you for that summary.
Why isn't it sharing?
Okay. Eileen, are you handling this one?
No, it just took
do it. I'll do
5
it.
minutes to appear.
Oh. Okay, John?
Sure, so as the applicant said, it's a small addition to an existing deck. The wetlands, as you can see from the plan, are to the left of the house, so not too far off the, not too far from the house, actually. So the deck itself will not extend as close to the wetlands as the existing house does. So although the deck will be within the 40-foot no build, it won't be within the 20-foot no disturb. This house was built before you had the regulations with the setbacks. It was built in, what'd you say, 2008?
2008. Yeah, we bought it in 2009. Was new construction 2008.
And it was, you had an order of conditions for this project. It was all, permitted. It's got a certificate of compliance, whatnot. But so the bottom line is the deck will come no closer to the existing house. It is in the no build, but the house was built before that no build setback was adopted. The only other point I'd make is that there isn't a shed on the site to the I guess south, if that plan is oriented north-south, I'm not really sure it is, but if it is, so it's to the south of the porch, or the deck, there it is right there. And that was not permitted, and that should have gotten a permit from the Conservation Commission, because that's also within the no-build setback, and it's within 100 feet of wetlands anyway, so it should have required a permit from the Conservation Commission.
Okay, do you have any concerns with the construction of this deck relative to the wetlands?
Nope, so we'll obviously require erosion controls. I'm not really sure what type of footings there'll be. Presumably, there'll have to be some excavation for the footings. It's obviously on a fairly high pillar, it's like over 6 feet high, the deck. You can walk under the deck, I think, so. So there'll have to be some sort of footings under there.
It's going to be one more. It says 3, so it's going to be one more.
Oh, just one?
One more footing?
Just one.
Okay, yeah. So we'll require some minor erosion controls just for that. And I guess that's it. I'm not really sure how you're going to get in there to do the footings. It's tough to get into that backyard, but you must have a plan.
I think he's going to dig it by hand.
Yeah, okay.
No heavy machinery.
Right. Yeah, you couldn't get a machine back in.
No.
Okay. That's it.
Okay, Sarah, any questions on this project?
No, it seems like, it doesn't stake out
As far as the house, and
stands.
certainly the shed is more in the way, so yeah, I have no concerns.
All right, Ken, anything further? How about Indra?
Nothing.
Bill?
I had one comment. Looking at the plan, it shows the rooftop drainage going off to something called underground drainage pits. And I'm assuming that's the way it was approved. And yet when I went out there today, Ed and I were noticing that the drain spout that comes down is connected directly to like a corrugated pipe. That looks like it just takes it right off to near the edge of the property and off to the neighbor's property instead of going into this underground drainage pits. So I'm wondering if you know when that change occurred and what the reasoning was.
That was because it was the water was backing up.
Okay.
So that drainage pit never fulfilled its role, and it was all backing up, and it was against the grade.
Yeah.
So instead of letting the water come into my basement, you had to redirect it as it's naturally go down to the right of the house.
Seems like it puts it right off into the neighbor's property, though. Which is what I think the underground drainage pits we're hoping to avoid. But if they're not functioning...
It's not functioning at all. They never did, unfortunately. That's why.
Okay, that's the only comment I had.
Okay, and Rob?
No.
And Ed?
Nothing to add.
Of course, as I look at the topography, the water tends to go in that direction anyway.
Right. I'm wondering if you look at the drawing and you're saying this the neighbor's property, I think that's still our property, isn't it?
Yep, that's your property.
Yeah. So
I think-
the
but
neighbor starts here.
He means, well, these are the pits, I presume, right?
I think he's talking about this.
Oh, sorry,
this one.
let me just use
Okay,
this.
sorry.
You mean the left?
So-
Which,
the left.
Because the one on the right did...
Looking at the
The right,
drawing,
we-
you're right.
these ones, sorry, can you see the mouse?
Yeah.
I'll make the mouse bigger in just a second. You mean these ones were you think they weren't?
Oh, okay.
it
I
wasn't
thought you were
going?
talking on the other side. Okay.
No.
I misunderstood.
Oh, so are the ones there functioning?
I didn't even know they existed. Maybe he's talking.
Oh.
There's two pipes actually. One pipe, the one that was under the deck, that was where the water was flowing actually into soaking my basement. We had to.
Oh.
I only put one pipe going towards the wetlands. I thought he was talking about the one that's parallel to the house towards the wetlands, with no other pipes.
Well, there's a pipe that it goes into the ground, it goes underground, and then it emerges a short distance away and a short distance from the property line.
Now I understand. Yeah. They were never, we were always a pile of water under the deck until that pipe was introduced. I had to call back the developer. I didn't put that pipe in myself.
Okay.
Right after we purchased the property in 2009, in the fall, the water was getting back into the basement, and I complained. I had 1-year warranty. I called the developer. He came out and he made this adjustment.
That was his modification. Okay.
Okay, and then we have a draft decision, negative conditional determination, and John or Eileen, you'll go through it.
Just about to share it. Hey, where'd it go? Okay. Do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, I can't read it.
Okay. The applicant proposed to construct an 8x8 addition to the existing deck on the rear of an existing residence. The work was within the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland, and that work would be approximately 40 feet from the wetland. We measured it, me and the contractor, last week. During a site visit with the Conservation Commission, it was observed that a shed had been installed at the rear of the lot between the existing deck and the rear and the no-disturb fences. Approximately 22 feet from the wetland, the homeowner did not apply for a permit for that shed. I'm assuming the Commission will vote to approve a waiver for the 40-foot no-build setback to the wetland. So this decision is saying that you can go ahead with the deck only, that work that we described tonight. I changed the dates. Thanks for that catch, Gabriel. Prior to beginning construction, you will install a wattle, probably along in front of the fence. You can lean it against the fence there. That would be fine. All construction or demolition material and excavated soil should be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. Any stockpiled material should be at least 20 feet from the wetland and 20 feet from the street. And keep the roadway clean if you're doing any work that gets that far. I don't think you will. You've got a very long driveway. No filling or grading on the property beyond what's required for the approved work. No altering the wetland. And this just says that we could come on just to inspect the work as just while it's happening. We won't be visiting your house on a regular basis, though.
All right, so just a few conditions. Sir, do you have any questions on this? These are kind of routine stuff. Okay.
I just had a question about the order, like just, I guess the purpose of like, is it just to highlight the shed wasn't, didn't have a waiver or?
Sorry, what?
The shed, like that was put in the order, like is that just to?
It was put in the findings?
Oh, okay.
Is that what you mean? Oh,
Yeah, I'm just curious, like you're highlighting it, but you're not really doing anything about it. It's just
We're just pointing it out in the findings that a shed was put in without authorization.
All right.
You're not suggesting we should do an after-the-fact waiver of the no-build setback, are you?
No.
Okay.
It's just a
I thought that that's what it meant.
Just to put it on the record.
Okay, all right. I just clarify. Thank you.
Because it says the commission approved a waiver.
That's of the, no, that's for the deck.
Oh, that's for the deck.
Are you going to approve the waiver? That's why it's highlighted. Just, it was borderline. It's 40 feet.
So do we need a waiver?
But it's no closer than the existing structures,
That's true.
so we don't need a waiver.
I can take that out and no problem.
Right.
And to John's point, it was before, right? Like
All right.
Sorry,
before
what?
those setbacks were in place. That was built.
When the house was built.
That was built, yeah.
Well, right,
Now
that's
the
the
deck
existing
would have
house.
to protect-
All right, that's true,
Everything
yeah.
new would have to
Okay, all
adhere.
right, I'm with you.
I can just remove that because you're right. It's no closer than existing. That's
Needed.
Good catch.
delete.
All right.
Gone.
Okay, all right, I think we're all set. Could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for this project for 62 Mountain Road under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14, and the State Wetlands Protection Act?
So move.
Second? Second. All right, Ed, how do you vote?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Andra? Yes. Bill?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes by a vote of 7-0-0. This project is approved for 62 Mountain Road.
Appreciate it.
You're all set.
Thank you.
Sorry, can we just mention that you did want to mention about the,
Yes, I sent in some
rubbish?
pictures. I was just wondering if I have any recourse. As I mentioned, we like to take care of our land and keep the wetlands nice and clean. there's a neighbor that seems to be problematic across from us, resident of 7 Oxbow Lane. He uses our conservation land for dumping his garbage. I mean, I don't know if it shows, if you can zoom in, there's a bunch of buckets for like paint buckets, a bunch of garbage, tarp. It looks like basically a garbage dumping ground there. This is the view from my living room. It ruins our property value. It's a nice neighborhood. Everybody keeps their property clean, except for this house. It's a disgrace, in my opinion. In our opinion, it's wanted to bring it to your attention.
So,
this is conservation land.
Thank you. So John or Eileen, would sound like this would be appropriate for a friendly enforcement letter?
Well, we should probably talk to the Board of Health. It's difficult to say from that distance whether or not it's within 100 feet of wetlands.
Right.
So we'll confer with the Board of Health. I mean, it's certainly a public nuisance at the very least.
Okay, and then we'll follow up after those discussions, I guess, as needed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right, sir. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, yes, absolutely. Would you like to pick up a copy of this, of your actual thing on Tuesday, or do you want us to mail it out to you? That would just Tuesday.
Yeah, we can mail it.
Mail it,
Yeah,
that's
please.
perfect. We'll do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have 2 signatures needed. Okay. This one. Okay, there's 2 more.
All righty.
All right, so let's see where we are at. All right, so next we're on item 6. Notice is given that the commission will hold a public hearing, during which time we'll take information related to a notice of intent filed by Boston Gas Company for the replacement of an existing natural gas pipeline under Middlesex Turnpike Extension right-of-way in Burlington. The proposed work would be within riverfront area, land under water bodies and waterways, bordering land subject to flooding, and the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetland and bank. This is being held under the State Wetlands Protection Act. It's also, this hearing is being held under Burlington Bylaw Article 14. The Commission will review all information related to the application and may issue an order of conditions and a Burlington Wetlands permit for this project. The application may be viewed at the link on the Conservation Commission webpage. Someone here for that? All right, good evening. Okay, and please introduce yourself and who you're affiliated with, and then you can start talking.
Sounds good. Thank you. Hi, my name is Erasmo de Cruz. I'm with BSC Group, and I'm representing the Boston Gas Company today. And I live in Westfield, Mass. So it was a nice little drive here. So I can get started, I guess.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you. We submitted a notice of intent to the Conservation Commission for the installation of approximately 40 feet of new gas main underneath land of waterways through the use of horizontal directional drilling, which we also call HDD. And as of today, we didn't receive any comments from DEP for this project. So I'll just go over the process overall. So the HDD process was proposed to avoid replacing the gas main itself, which is currently exposed over Grand Brook on the east side of Middlesex Turnpike Extension. The process involves the installation of approximately 8 inches of gas main through an entry pit that's within RFA, buffer zone, and also the 100-foot buffer zone to BLSF, down to the depth of approximately 11 to 12 feet below the existing culvert, and back out in the exit pit area in the 100-foot buffer to BLSF. Both entry and exit pit staging areas are proposed entirely within the paved footprint of the roadway, and we don't anticipate any impact to flood storage capacity of resource areas, the culvert, or Vine Brook for this installation. Best management practices will be used, including erosion controls, restoration as well, and as well as an HTD contingency plan. And all these will be installed before work begins. So yeah, at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions, and we request an issuance of honorary conditions for this project. Thank you.
All right, good. Thank you for those comments.
Appreciate it.
Okay, John, are you taking this one?
Yeah. Okay, so this is a project that, according to the regulations, is probably an exempt project. Utilities within roadways are exempt, and they do actually make that point in the filing, but out of an abundance of caution, they've decided to file in case anything goes wrong or anything. But typically, this type of project, we just get a notification. There isn't actually a filing with the Conservation Commission. They just notify us. All public utilities, sewer lines, water lines, electric, gas, telecommunications, if they're in the roadway, they're exempt. But in this case, so they're going under Vine Brook, which is kind of a big endeavor. It's, you know, a fairly good size culvert under there, and they're going under it with their gas line. So they decided to file just to be cautious. I don't have any concerns. They're doing the horizontal drilling, so they're going to be, you know, set back quite a ways from the culvert itself, and then they'll go under it. So I don't really have concerns.
Okay, let's start with Ed. Ed, questions on this?
Wasn't for me.
All right, how about Rob?
I kind of thought of a couple of things. I looked a little bit in the part. So I guess one, so for the drilling, so it sounds, I was looking at some of like the Massachusetts sort of regulations and guidelines and whatnot. So one said that the bentonite clay and then polymers that are used in drilling fluids. I saw one thing that said that they recommend that the bentonite clay is one that says that it's been tested for possible like contaminants, I guess, like to make sure it's like heavy metal free. And then with the polymers, like I'm not too familiar with drilling fluid, but I guess for like polymer flocculants, it recommends sort of anionic or non-ionic polymers rather than cationic polymers, that the anionic polymers are less toxic to aquatic life. Vine Brook, and then we have the bridle fish, and then the national heritage right nearby. It might be, but I understand that for the type of polymer used, a lot of it depends on the soil type, how rocky it is. But I think it might be good to know at least for the amount of like drilling fluid that's going to be used, like possibly what the what polymer could be, like for the project, but maybe when it's like sort of coming in. And then I think also I saw in the paperwork there was I think a dirt bag or silt sack.
Oh yeah.
So I was wondering too, like maybe where in the project that might be placed, because I think sometimes with silt sacks it's like there's all the stuff like what goes under them is somewhat important. If it's like depending if it's like a impervious surface or whatnot, and then possibly if there's like a inflow or outflow for that, where the outflow the silt sack might be going, I guess, sort of on the plan. And I guess finally, when I was going through too, when it was mentioning the wetlands restoration, it looked like some of the documents were from, it was referencing something from New York, I think in 2005.
Yeah.
So that seemed a little bit like, and then some of the plants too, it seemed like there was a lot of maybe grasses and somewhat, and I think there's like some, for wetlands restoration, I think there's a more recent there's a more recent document out of, I think, UMass Amherst about like the sort of a massive, came out in 2022 about wetlands restoration. That sort of has like all this stuff like, depending on how, of course, it depends. You know, there's a lot that goes into sort of proposing in projects, restoring or sort of how that works. But I think like a little more recent plan might be a little more interesting, just in case if there happens to be, because it seems like there might be wetlands restoration, there might not be, but sort of if necessary, depending on what happens sort of within the roadway or not.
Yeah, that makes sense. For the wetland part, we don't really expect any wetland restoration to be done, but if it could have happened, the documents shown in that, that part of the narrative pretty much shows all our clients, I guess, plants they usually use, and they operate in New York, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Mass as well. So that's just a general kind of BMPs they use. So I'm pretty sure they will be open to use any other grass that it may require to be used for the project. That shouldn't be a problem at all. In relation to the polymers, I don't believe they'll be used for this project. It will only be the bentonite.
Okay, that's good.
Which is pretty much non-toxic, so. Yeah, and finally for the silt sack, usually if the watering is recommended, is going to be used for this project, which again is unlikely, it's usually done, I guess the water usually is put out in vegetated areas, outside resource areas, or, yeah, that's usually where they put it, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess we like to, is it going to go to the sort of the Kent Cottage side or possibly over to the Vinebrook side?
Yeah.
Which side?
Nah, usually, yeah. Or honestly, in this case, they may even just use a vacuum truck and just pump it out.
Or if it's going offsite.
Yeah, so there are different ways to go about it, so should be all right, I think.
Yes, John?
Just a couple things. One, as far as the bentonite and that, if you could just write something up and we could put that in as a condition in the order conditions about the polymers or whatever, you know, just we can include that. So a lot of the stuff that you're referencing is just very generic National Grid stuff that they have for all their projects for BMPs. A lot of them are not really relevant. They're not going to be doing wetland restoration. They're not working in the wetlands. They're working the road. In addition, the representative here tonight is a certified erosion control scientist or whatever, and we can require that he be present on site, or in the order of conditions, we require that somebody's always on site while they're doing that kind of work. Certainly dewatering work or anything like that.
Yeah. That works.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Why don't we go to Sarah? Sarah, any questions on this one?
Just two. One is, it sounds like the main reason for filing, even though you're utilities and therefore could be exempt, is because of this inadvertent return possibility. Could you give just a general estimate of, is that a real abundance of caution, like that just extremely rarely happens, or does that happen like, you know, one in every 10 jobs of this type that you do? I'm just curious how often an inadvertent return event occurs and what that might look like. It sounds like some of this drilling fluid would weep up through the cracks and then get into the stream.
Yeah, in my experience, I haven't seen any of that happen personally, so I can't really give you an exact, I guess, probability of the occurrence, but yeah. I haven't seen it personally, so I can't say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like maybe it's not very common. My next question is just more to edify myself. I'm interested, what is the clearance between, so I guess Vinebrook is 3 feet deep at that point, I read in the report, and what is this distance between the bottom of the stream and the top of the hole you're drilling? Are we talking, is it like way below the stream bed, or is it just right underneath? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's way below. I think it's about 11 to 12 feet below the stream bed itself. Yeah.
So it's kind of like dip down and then come back up?
It comes back up on the other side, yeah.
And the plan is to leave that existing pipe where the green arrows are pointing, that will just stay there?
Yep, that's the plan.
That's all for me.
All right, thank you. All right, Bill?
In the process of drilling, you're going to be removing some mud and muck and whatever.
Yeah.
Where does that go?
Vacuum truck as well.
It's just going to be taken away?
Yeah. All that's just collected and taken away as well, so, yeah.
That's all I have.
All right. Indra?
Now, this new pipeline will be at the same depth as it is existing pipeline, sir?
Yes, the ones within the roadway, yes. Pretty much will be next to each other, I believe.
And it's the same size you're using?
Maybe a little bigger, but maybe I think it's going to be an 8-inch pipeline. I think the older ones are about 4 inches wide, or 6 as well, 4 to 6. So yeah, it'll just be slightly bigger, that's all.
Kent?
Not that it's good that John brought that up. I didn't know that's exempt from, so it's good to know that it's, when it's filed and got it done as caution, so that's good to know.
All right. Quick question, is there any history of contamination along the route at all?
I don't believe so.
Okay, and I guess if you smelled something or saw something, then you'd have to stop work and notify the Board of Health, right?
That's the plan, yeah. Notify the commission, DEP, Board of Health as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. All right, that's all I have. So is there anybody online that has a question about this gas pipeline project on Middlesex Turnpike? Is there anyone in the room? Okay, so.
Can you just write it down?
Yes, I can.
I didn't. Okay.
Let's go over a couple of small things. I heard, Rob, did you ask for the amount of drilling fluid being used, or is that not really?
I don't. I think that's. I don't think we really need.
Cross that off. Okay, I thought I heard.
Although I think it's like a standard calculation based on the distance and the size and all these different variables. It's sort of estimate, but then there's So I think it's.
And did you, sir, say there was no polymer being used?
Yeah, as far as I know.
So we can cross that off the list because he had questions about that.
Well, I think Rob's just going to draft up a condition that we can include that says no polymer in the order conditions.
Yeah. Condition that you're going to draft is going to say no polymer, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
or it's going to say that in the findings, maybe.
Yeah.
Right. That's.
Either way, I mean, you can say we don't want any polymer as a condition.
Okay, that's true. Okay, he just volunteered. I heard him. The bentonite, you were talking about how bentonite can have contaminants and stuff that you would want were you looking for some feedback on the quality of the bentonite to be used?
I mean, from what I saw, I'm guessing something from it in construction sort of or drilling sort of around the world. It's like, depending on where it's sourced, it's generally tested.
Yes.
To make so there should be some. I'm guessing like.
Okay, so can you issue a statement or something in that regard about the quality of the bentonite?
Yeah, I think that can be done.
Okay, I'm sure you could come up with something.
Yeah,
your company must have a standard specification.
Yes, I know it's been tested as well, and Boston Gas Company pretty much attests that it's non-toxic as well. So
right.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find.
Okay, so. We'll get a response back from you on that. Okay.
Sounds good.
You said there was some discussion about silt sacks. I wasn't quite sure if that required a further response. Or
I don't really think so.
No?
Rob said something.
No. I mean, I was just sort of based on the. I mean, I was just sort of curious, not exactly, like a condition or something. Just like I did see. I think.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if you're asking them for anything, Rob. Do you see what I mean?
Well, it just says bags and tubes should be placed only on vegetated, paved, or other stable surfaces. Yeah. So I guess it's important that they be sort of like wells.
So we're not asking for anything from him directly back for the next meeting?
No. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I do think just for maybe on a plan, possibly the location and then maybe the location of the drainage, or unless it is going to be,
Location on plan.
So, I mean, we have a typical condition that's a requirement to submit a dewatering plan to us.
Yeah, or something like that.
That's standard anyway, so if they need to dewater, they'll need to submit a dewatering plan to us.
Yeah, so that, I mean, if that's covered.
And then usually staff just approves where they're proposing to put it, and we'll say, oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I guess that sort of, yeah, like that.
And something about a more recent document from UMass Amherst?
Well, I just, it was just sort of a comment on the submitted report that it seemed a little bit out of date.
Yeah.
But I guess that was, there wasn't, that part in the report wasn't sort of meant to be more informational and sort of something proposed.
Okay, all right, so they don't need that, okay. Sarah, did I ask you for comments? Did I overlook you?
Yes. I asked about the, going under the stream bed, and now it's got me wondering about what that does to the resistance of the gas line, because I know every curve adds resistance and wasted energy. But that's not a concern for this meeting.
Okay, all right. And we also mentioned that we may have a condition that requires a certified erosion control person on site during the construction.
Agreed to that.
Okay, and he agreed to that. Okay, so there's very few. So something, a little bit of statement about the bentonite quality and something about, and I think that's it. That's it, right?
That he's going to provide? Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll probably add a condition about the what do you call this stuff? The off material being trucked off site.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
From Bill's thing.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, is there anything else from anyone on this then? If not, then we would probably, I suspect, close out the hearing at the next meeting and issue a permit at the March 14th meeting.
Thank you.
Okay? Any questions for anyone? So, sir, we'll see you on March 14th?
Thank you.
What, a vote to continue?
Okay, yes. Could I have a motion to continue the public hearing for the notice of intent Middlesex Turnpike Extension right-of-way for the Boston Gas Company, DEP file number 122-698, to replace the existing natural gas pipeline? Is there a motion? So moved. Second? Second. Okay. Okay, so.
Well, sorry.
There's a motion. Let me go through the motion. Okay, so Ed, how do you vote?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. My vote is 7-0-0. This hearing is continued to our March 14th meeting. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
We're all set. Thank you.
Good night.
Good to see you.
I think all we asked you to do was provide something, but as you said, they're good.
All right, so the,
So I don't, we'll just condition those things,
Sounds good.
okay?
the next item on the agenda is a public hearing. Notice is given that the commission will hold a public hearing, during which time we will consider and take public comment on proposed updates to the Burlington Wetland Bylaw fees, which are found in Appendix C of the Burlington Wetlands Regulation. A draft of the proposed fee table may be viewed on the link on the Conservation Commission website. Also at that location are the wetland regulations as well. I'll link to those. Okay, so who's taking the lead on this one? Eileen, are you?
Yes, I guess it will be me. I'm just going to share the Excel because it might take a minute to open. So as I explained the last time, this came up because we're trying to port the applications for wetlands permits and stormwater permits onto the online permitting system, which is used by the building department and the planning department and but various other departments here. And one tricky part that I found was that it's very difficult to figure out the fees, to just input the fees when it's something like some fee plus per foot of wetland. That was just tricky. So then it made us sort of think about, okay, well, let's see what how our fees are structured, how other towns' fees are structured, and we thought we would go through and compare to some other towns just to see at that point how we compare to other towns, because we thought if we're going to take a look at this, we might as well consider updating some fees if we want to or not. So we found that a lot of other towns do have this sort of trickier, per square foot or whatever calculation as well.
Per square foot of alteration, correct? Yes.
I actually didn't really check to see if they are online as well using Viewpoint. But another thing that we found was that sometimes it's kind of a little bit moot, because as I mentioned before, if they're doing, say, something that requires wetland replication, what they propose and therefore pay at the initial stage, what they pay for the fee is not necessarily what is decided at the end will be the actual amount of the wetland crossing. So it's kind of, as I said, a kind of moot. So we just put together this table, and the green highlighted ones are the ones that look like they're most similar to Burlington in that they have a fairly similar amount of wetlands applications going through, and then I used all the others just to provide various different averages. Bill pointed out that in my zeal, I was proposing to up the prices on some of the smaller ones that are really done by residents. And that's true. I'm going to take that back, because a minor RDA or a small NOI is usually something like a deck or an addition or something, and it's a homeowner, and I don't want to make things more difficult for them by adding more fees to them. But I think that somebody who's building a whole new house or who's building a subdivision, something more substantial, those fees could potentially be tweaked if you wanted to. So I altered it very slightly just today. It's too small to read. I'm sorry. Let me make it a bit bigger. I was proposing that, after all, instead of upping the, I think this is the fee for a minor RDA, we would just leave it at 50. And then this one here, I think, was the fee for a minor NOI. Maybe just leave that at 100. Don't up those. This is where we're coming from. So we just thought we would open this up to a discussion in case anybody has any strong opinions, whether we should change the fees, as well as potentially, are you open to us just making them a straight fee? Was that clear? The question? Two questions?
Sort of. I assume folks have had a look at this and probably have some opinions to share. So why don't we do that? Sarah, do you want to go first? Do you have an opinion on what?
I don't really have any opinions on this. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think.
So much for plausible deniability, I guess, huh? Okay. Okay, let's see if anyone else has any thoughts. Ed?
It would just be curiosity, has there been feedback with fees in general?
No. You mean, has anybody said this is too expensive or, wow, you're cheap? Nope.
I think that's where I'm coming from with Sarah's comment too, is that, gee, if it's not like astronomical change.
Except for the people who are doing those minor RDAs, like when they're just cutting down some trees, they do balk a little bit at the fact that they're going to have to pay a fee. It's a small fee, admittedly, for the RDA, and then they have to pay for the legal fee. because we have to put it in the paper. So that's another $200. So before they come in front of you, it's $250.
Where do they advertise it?
The Daily Times Chronicle.
The Daily Times Chronicle.
Yeah. That's pretty cheap. I mean, there are towns with no local papers that are having to advertise in the Globe.
Yeah, I mean, how many people in Burlington read the Daily Times Chronicle?
We have to do it. It's a legal requirement. Well, I mean, the legal requirement isn't to do it in the Daily Times Chronicle, but it is, what's the wording? It's just a published paper.
General circulation.
General circulation.
Nominate the Buzz. The Burlington Buzz.
Don't think we can yet.
I know, it's not recognized appropriately or whatever.
But that actually
That would be
get
great.
higher circulation.
Probably would get read by more people. and
Probably.
The local press could use the money.
Okay, I went to Ed. Why don't we go to Rob then, and I'll keep going across. Rob?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts just that it does seem that the proposed fees are pretty reasonable. I mean, quite a bit less than some towns, and then sort of in line with some of the others.
Yeah, Lexington tends to be the most expensive.
Yeah,
but then that's Lexington, and they actually they do have quite a lot of applications. Can I just point out one thing? Under subdivision, I somehow wrote $500, but right now it's $1,000. Let's forget that. Let's leave it at $1,000. We get very few, and there aren't many places where we're even going to get any more. So there's no need to make that cheaper. I didn't mean to. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Bill, you have any comments on this?
So we currently don't have any per square foot fees that need to be fixed, so to speak.
We do. We have subdivision NOI does have a per square foot fee. Oh, I can pull up the actual fees.
Oh, I see. It's on the revised chart. When I'm looking at it, doesn't have it. Okay.
So
right here, Bill.
technically they do. The notice of intents all do have a plus 50 cents per square foot of wetland altered.
Yeah.
The ANRADs all have a fee plus, well, no, actually, the ANRADs are just per linear foot of wetland with a minimum and a maximum. So what?
ANRADs on the table?
I do have ANRADs on the table, I think.
It's
so
cut off, I think.
I would just like to smooth those off.
Yeah, I agree that those should be eliminated as.
Well, it's the per square foot part. I mean, I don't honestly. I don't have any strong feelings about upping the fees in the slightest. We don't need to up the fees. Just if we could smooth some of those things out, that would be helpful.
I agree. Get rid of those per square foot because, like you said, it's not accurate half the time, anyways. Other than that, I don't have any.
So ANRADs is one, and I think I'm proposing that we could make it 200 and 500 or 200 and 800 maybe for a commercial one, or for the larger ones.
Is there a category, a column here for that?
No, it was getting too complicated. In our sort of fee table, which I can switch over to if you want, we have single-family residential under 20,000. So let's just say single-family residential is 52,250. That's the 52,250.
Is that table you're looking at is what you're proposing? What table are you looking at?
Sorry, this is the actual current fees.
And this table is
also the current fees, but it's just the top line.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so it's not a proposal from you.
Well, it is, because if you look at the bottommost row is the proposal.
Oh, okay.
The proposed.
Yes.
Possible changes.
Yes.
Which mostly wouldn't have to change at all unless you want them to, except for the NOIs and the ANRADs, really.
Right.
I think that is a reasonable thing to do. Just change those two to be a flat fee.
Had I changed, was I proposing any changes to the others? 150, 100? Not really. I mean, mostly it was just those ones.
All right.
Unless anybody wants to change something.
All right. So let's keep going. Indra?
Well, I see the island spent a lot of time and fee shows reasonable. There is no end, anybody can change, and we'll have a lot of, changes. Somebody would say, yeah, it is good. Somebody say, no, instead of $50, why don't we make it $25? So there is no end. But it seems to me reasonable.
Okay. All right, Kent?
No, I think it looks reasonable, and I think Bill has a good point about the per square, just to make it flat. I think it's probably a better way to deal with it, because like some of the stuff's probably not accurate, so I agree with those points.
Okay. My comment is that I agree with Bill's first comment that eliminating the basis of per square foot seems cumbersome, and we should just have a flat fee. Second, as I go through this, I think the suggestion for the minor RDA, given what I see others are doing, going from 50 to 100, I think is reasonable. I think what SFRDA, what's that mean?
Also, single family.
Single family, keeping that, let's see.
I mean, if it's just a house.
Going to 150 looks reasonable compared to the others. Commercial RDA, you're keeping it at 250 compared to the others, I would keep it. That looks reasonable. The small NOI, it was at 75, and given what the others are charging, it looks like 150 would be kind of in the middle.
I did say 150, and now I was rethinking it based on what Bill said, that those smaller things are often just homeowners.
Right. Small NOIs?
Maybe just make it 100, and I see 100.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
Yeah?
Yeah, maybe,
Just a nice round number.
Well, it's a nice round number, plus we're not trying to hit up the homeowners for extra, just to get another $50.
Right.
And then single-family NOIs, you're talking about going to, and the kind of project this is like a
Tear down?
Tear down?
Yeah.
I think, given what I see with these other ones that are 500, 600, stuff, 300, sounds pretty reasonable. What's she suggesting?
That one's a bit of a jump, so
That's more than doubling
you
it.
don't have to.
Well, we can go to 250 if you'd like, but it should be higher than 125.
At least 200.
But that one really is a commercial. I mean, that's the tear down, the developer is paying.
It's a developer, yeah.
So it's not really a residential.
So 250 or 300 would be reasonable, given what I see about the others there. The subdivision NOI looks like it's high enough compared to the others.
Well, I think you may be looking at it saying 500, and it should say 1,000, because we already are at 1,000.
Right. You're going to keep it at 1,000, you would see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, commercial NOI, it is at 1,000, you keep it at 1,000. It looks, compared to other towns, that looks reasonable. For the amendment, you're proposing to keep it at 100, that looks reasonable. For the single-family extension, what is that now?
Extension to the order of conditions. When it expires and you want to...
Oh, an extension, $50. I'd leave that at $50, in my opinion. Commercial extension, you're proposing leave it at 100, no change. Okay. Single-family certificate of compliance, we have that at 50, you're keeping it at 50. Okay. Commercial certificate of compliance, it's at 100, you're proposing to keep it at 100?
Yeah.
Anybody have a feeling on that?
Nope.
Okay.
I think it's fine.
The ANRAD, what are you proposing? Just change it to a flat fee of 200 and 500?
Yeah, or 200, maybe 800.
What is the difference between a $200 project and a $500?
The $200 project is the single-family residential ANRAD. I don't even know when we last got one of those. Not sure when we ever get them. And then the other one would generally be for a bigger lot or commercial.
Like the Fox Hill School.
Like the Fox Hill.
Or Eversource.
Or the Eversource.
So you're eliminating...
So maybe, let's just say 800 for that.
Okay, so you're eliminating the fee based on linear feet?
Yes.
Of wetland, delineated.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you're suggesting just a flat 800, not two separate fees?
No, two set, well, I mean, I'm okay with 200 for the small one, but
Okay.
that's rare. I think I can probably figure out how to make that work on the viewpoint.
So anyways, those are my comments, that I think some of them are adjusting compared to the others, and the others that were comparable ones that were in the middle, we stayed in the middle, so we just leave it.
Right, there weren't many changes that we're proposing, because it does seem like we are pretty much in the middle anyway.
Okay.
Which one of these require publication in the newspaper? Only the public hearings? The NOIs?
No, the RDAs do too.
The RDAs too, even though they're not a public hearing?
Yeah.
That surprises me. Okay.
All right, so does anybody, okay, I just sort of opined on what I saw. Did anybody have a differing opinion from what I was thinking? Because it doesn't have to be.
Agreed. No.
No, I think that was reasonable.
As I said, yeah.
Okay, and Eileen, you sort of captured this by having with the existing and the proposed. I don't think there were many changes from what you're proposing,
Not really.
from what I said.
No, we just thought, since we were asking about the smoothing out part, let's just take a look at all the surrounding towns and just see where we stand and whether we should make changes.
No, that was helpful information. And the process for actually formalizing these changes?
Well, it's through you only, since it's on the regulations. It's in the bylaw regulations.
So this is the process. This is a public.
We're doing it.
We advertised in the newspaper. This was a public hearing, which you opened tonight. As you do with every public hearing, I would suggest you not open and close in one night.
Okay.
You never do with any public hearing, and you shouldn't.
Just in case there's comments, that's fine.
And sometimes when we make regulation changes to the text and the wording, we have some outreach to people. Do we need to do anything here, or it's not significant enough to?
Well, I mean, we put a legal ad in, we've made it a public hearing. They're pretty insignificant changes, I think.
Yeah. It's televised.
It's televised.
Do we need any further outreach? It's just what I'm throwing out there.
I don't think so.
I don't really think so.
Not that significant. And it is public, so.
If there's any future questions, we can tell them to contact you.
Yeah, and if we keep it open for another hearing, then people have another opportunity to comment.
Then the updated table will be on the webpage.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, anything further based on the discussion?
No, nothing further.
Okay. I'm trying hard not to forget that you're online. Okay. And the record should show, I don't believe there's anyone online that wants to comment. I don't hear anything, and there's nobody else in the room physically with us.
Who's calling user 2? Is that one of us?
There's somebody, what?
Okay. No, I would just, in case they wanted to talk and we had to unmute them.
They are unmuted.
Oh, sorry, never mind.
Okay. All right, so I guess there's nothing further under this. This has been a discussion of some relatively minor changes to the proposed fees for the Burlington Wetland bylaw, and we will have, can I have a motion to continue this hearing? And it looks like we'll wrap it up on March 14th. Is there a motion to that effect to continue it?
So moved.
Second?
Second, Ken.
All right, Ed, how do you vote on the continuance? Yes. Rob?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's 700. Hearing on adjustments to the bylaw fee table for the Burlington Wetlands bylaw Article 14 is continued to the meeting of March 14th. All right. So, moving on, a few administrative things. Do we have anything for the planning board?
No.
Okay, subcommittee and staff reports.
We're going to do rain barrels again. Sell them.
Oh,
That's it.
it's good that it keeps raining. Okay. Other business? Anything? Anyone? As I said many times, the next meeting is March 14th, and the next one is March 28th. Anything further? Motion to adjourn, please?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All right, Ed, how do you vote on adjournment?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And chair votes yes by a vote of 700. This meeting of the Conservation Commission is adjourned. Good evening.
Larry, do you want